We will be going into our next panel discussion. This one is on capturing new global markets and redefining the luxury experience. I know yesterday we had the opportunity to hear from our guest speaker, Adam Stewart, especially when we speak on Belize's luxury hotels and so forth. On this panel, we have
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Belize Investment Summit 2025 stage, Dustin Rennie, Regional Director of Remax Belize, Gustavo Hiron, Managing Director at Astrom Helicopters, Scott McCardo, General Manager at Alaya Belize, Andres Madrigal, Manager of Development, Caribbean and Latin America at Marriott International.
So this presentation will explore how Belize, with its unique cultural heritage, pristine environment, and emerging industries, can position itself as a premier destination for global markets. Right. Go ahead.
Green? It doesn't matter, whatever's easier. I can stand. Oh, sure, perfect. Hello, I'm Dustin. I'm lucky enough to moderate this. It's also amazing to actually have a pretty cool panel here when it comes to luxury tourism, new markets. You have airstream and connectivity. You got the man behind Alaya, which is definitely defines a lot of the luxury sector here in San Pedro, and then Andreas with Marriott International, who has seen luxury and new markets grow over the years. So thank you everybody very much. Thanks for attending, and pretty excited to cover what we can do to chat about new markets and luxury tourism. I think, what was it, Adam Stewart touched on that there was connectivity, Gustavo, there was infrastructure, and then there was also the service sector. So welcome guys to the panel. And I think to kick it off, Gustavo, good to see you, the Prada sunglasses, as you're looking stylish. Gustavo, for connectivity, with Airstream, what can you see in Belize that could improve the connectivity, and maybe even something simple that could be a big leap forward for connectivity in Belize?
Well, with connectivity, what we do is we service a niche market that has been a game changer for the luxury market in Belize that allows customers to go from the airport to direct destinations, for example, a remote island. But it's not only a transportation service we provide, in itself it's an experience. So for example, if you're going out to Turnif or Carespanto or down to the Gladden Split, you get to see the reef from the air and maybe some marine life along the way. So we're providing an easy way to get customers to remote destinations and also a massive time savings. But this is also a very niche market, as other panelists have said. So you need the broad range of the different markets in order to have that.
Actually, I also know Emilio at the airport really well.
Yes.
And the guy does define service. I could bring me to my next point, actually, to Scott. In Alaya, what have you seen in terms of service or experience that has led to a lot of your guys' success?
We had a big shift in the industry post-COVID. So we think about, what do people want? How do we elevate? People are willing to spend more than ever to travel. But they're not traveling for that material luxury anymore. They're traveling for personalization, and they're traveling for unique experience. And personalization is no longer, hi, Mr. Smith, when you check in. We're fortunate at Marriott that we have powerful platforms that we can keep guest data, keep guest profiles, and start to build an understanding of what's important to people. Now, if I'm giving you all that information, I'm expecting you to use it, right? And one of the biggest challenges, certainly, we had training staff in Belize was that people were not used to being empowered to use information. So we had all these guest preferences and all these names, but you know what? I need to go ask my manager if I'm allowed to give you this thing that you told me you want. So our first thing was breaking that down, you know, and say, go for it. You may not always get it right, but if you can create a special moment there and then, and your staff are doing that on the ground on a daily basis without even coming to you, then you've got a much higher chance that people are getting their expectations met. The other thing that strikes me about Belize is that we have this kind of amazing depth and breadth of things you can do. I mean, I've worked in many locations across the Caribbean. I can't think of anywhere that you can snorkel the barrier reef, dive the blue hole. Next day you're in an eco lodge in a jungle. Next day you're looking at a historic Mayan site, and all within, what, an hour and a half's travel. We need to lean into that, and we need to get that message out there. You know, you can do all of this in this magical little country.
And take a airstream.
And take a helicopter.
And you take a helicopter to do it.
Well, you know, we've gotten to know the country in a way that few people will ever will, because we get to travel to very remote destinations. So the amount of sinkholes and waterfalls and just marine life and reef formations that I can show you if we were to be able to go on a all-day trip. But it's not only that. Belize provides a fantastic opportunity. I agree with what he was saying. In one day, you can go to the hills, to the reef, from diving to a pristine jungle. And on a helicopter, you have the advantage that you can be anywhere in country in 45 minutes to 55 minutes from Belize City. And there's few places in the world that you can do that.
And I can say every time I've gone in a helicopter, I do feel like I'm going in through like Jurassic Park, like hearing the
Thank
anthem
you.
playing.
Some flights that we go out to, for example, to the
It's like
Chickaboo
you're
or
John
the Pine
Hammond.
Ridge, you have this vibe as you're going in because you see nothing but lush green forest.
It was pretty cool, Scott. I was really excited that you were on the panel and that Andreas was available. Andreas is with Merit International and manages new development projects. And you've been talking about like what you see in the luxury segment. You've seen a bunch of destinations. Where would be a benchmark that you say that Belize could use something as an example?
Yes, thank you, Dustin. And by the way, more than happy to be here in Belize. Beautiful country. Every single time I arrive, I send a message to my buddies here. This is a great country, a lot of opportunities.
Actually, your best comment was you landed just like, man, I love the blank canvas.
Yes, and this is basically a black canvas in terms of hospitality investments. We see a lot of opportunities in the luxury space, probably more aligned to the entry luxury products. When I'm talking about entry luxury products, I'm thinking in brands like JW, Marriott, or something like Luxury Collection, which is part of our soft brand portfolio, or something like W. And you said something very interesting about a benchmark. I believe Belize is the only country in Central America with the characteristics of a Caribbean place. That's unique. That's special. So, in terms of benchmark, probably destinations like, well, a lot of opportunities to develop something like Punta Mita in Mexico, that kind of things over here. Things like Papagayo in Costa Rica, you know, high-end luxury, but conscious-driven in terms of sustainability, in terms of how we impact in a positive way the communities that surround, you know, our hotels. I believe that those are good benchmarks for Belize's future.
If I may add, you know, Belize also has a very unique situation because you can provide a luxury product that is very driven into the experience.
Exactly.
What that I mean is that pointing out to what we can do, you know, we've done custom inflatable whitewater rafting trips inside the Sibun River. I mean, it's expensive, but we basically insert a team with inflatable kayaks, and they can spend 3 to 5 days eating, sleeping inside the Sibun River.
But now,
and then we have extraction points in case of an emergency with a satellite phone. But it's a once in a lifetime experience.
That's a great comment.
We've set up with other outfits, you know, for example, diving the Blue Hole, where we have the head of a marine biologist association meet them out at the dive, so then they're their tour guide, And then when we go to the cave system, a custom experience, and then one more time, we have the head of a NGO, the director providing that value-added service that creates a very unique niche market that's very, very different.
It's like real nature connected with a luxury experience.
And at the end of the day, you can come back to a beautiful luxury resort to soak and enjoy a fantastic dinner.
Like Alaya, by the way.
I guess-
Part of our portfolio, just.
You know what? Okay, here's a question. I know we were the comment of infrastructure was a big thing for luxury. Even at Adam Stewart's conversation, you know, we were always going over the who is Belize, but I look at it as when you look at infrastructure, what is an amenity that you see at Alaya that gets people the wow factor? Like whatever Alaya, I always look at it as the benchmark, being like, okay, they're busy, so obviously something is going on. You guys have done a fantastic job. You really are the benchmark there. But I guess for you and Andres, what would be an amenity or infrastructure that you say would be like a fundamental for success
Well,
in the luxury sector?
Absolutely, and I think people's biggest fear is that they'll travel somewhere and have this benign, soulless experience, right? They expect to have the great towels and the nice amenities and everything to look good and smell good. Some of the biggest successes we have are things that cost very, very little. We do a sunrise breakfast where we take guests to our chicken coop, they harvest eggs, they come, sun's just coming over the horizon, they press fresh juice, and they're doing all the work. I have 2 staff doing it, 2 junior staff, but that's consistently the thing that pulls through. And why is because they can't do that everywhere. They can't go do that in London or Paris, or they can't sit in the sand, see the sun come up, watch the palm tree and get that experience. So, for properties in Belize, I think it's really leaning into how can I best use my asset to give people something they haven't seen before. And it doesn't have to be a material thing. You can buy a bottle of Veuve Clicquot anywhere in the world. Okay, but you can't go and harvest eggs from a chicken coop and sit and watch the sunrise and cook your omelette and meet new people. So it's experience-led in the luxury sector for me.
Just similar ideas, because for hotels, it's always the investment of building us a heliport, which is a landing platform. Some of them is a pier in a remote island, but what we have learned to tell them is take the heliport and then provide a stargazing dinner. So that with candles, walk to the end of the pier. It's big enough because a helicopter can land there. Now you set up your bottle of champagne with your table, and now you have a one-of-a-kind experience.
The question is, so like landing at a hotel, and keeping curiosity, like, do you see seaplanes as a potential market in Belize?
It's a challenge because there's always the national security drug threat. And how to monitor safe utilization of them. It's a possibility. I know a few people have tried that, but I wouldn't be able to say if it can or cannot be done. I know a lot of people always, it's the first thing they want to look at.
Yeah.
But it brings a lot of challenges. And from our point of view in aviation, a factor that a lot of people don't understand is corrosion.
Yeah.
The amount of money and time we have to spend in making sure the aircraft is to standards and it doesn't corrode is ungodly amount of time. An aircraft landing in the water exponentially, if not taken care of, can provide also unsafe situation.
So yeah, so I was it was a conversation. We're even flying. We're thinking over how cool of an experience it would be for luxury too, even in carrying capacity. It is remarkable. I think even. Andreas, like at Marriott, just so people understand, like you guys got a lot of different brands. You have things from luxury to, you mentioned premium luxury, entry luxury. What's the difference from something like a Ritz-Carlton? Who here knows the name Ritz-Carlton? Okay, who also knows just Marriott? Looking for luxury, you're going to go to Marriott or you're going to go to Ritz-Carlton? So you've got a lot of people here, Ritz, but which one in your mind is the highest luxury of all of Marriott's brands? And I guess give a comment on it as you have a lot of difference.
Yes, I have a comment on your previous question. that I believe is very important for this discussion. When we try to have a luxury segment in a country, we need certain minimum infrastructure. So, as an example, I mean, if you want to have a Ritz-Carlton or a St. Regis hotel or Bulgari hotel or whatever luxury brand do you want to have, you need improvements in things like airport facilities, roads, because luxury, it's all about service. If you want to have a high-end luxury product, you need a lot of different services. And that brings a lot of opportunities to the community, to the local business, because they can, provide different segments with more value added through their activities. But going back to the original question, yes, we have more than 35 brands on our portfolio. We have 9 brands on the luxury space, and we classify those brands as entry luxury and high-end luxury. In a country like Belize, as I said, we believe there is a couple of opportunities for entry luxury products here, like a JW or a W, something like that.
And then how many keys or rooms would be needed for, I guess, different segments?
It depends, but it depends of the feasibility of each project. But we're thinking something in between 100 to 150 keys, something like that for a luxury product, to have a unique experience. You don't want to have a lot of people in a luxury product. You want to keep it, personal. You want to keep it small with certain scale.
And then, actually, stuff I get, Emilio, you have one of the best service guys in history. I actually do got to give a round of applause to your trading and there, and you've dealt with a lot of high-end clientele. And what would you feel like would be some of the best advice you could give on managing expectations of luxury clientele or people that are looking at any sector that is dealing with luxury clientele?
Well, luxury clientele is different.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say they're difficult. They just expect service. They don't mind paying for it, but you have to deliver. So if you're going to call yourself a luxury product, you have to be able to deliver the service that you're charging. And if there's any concerns when the service is not delivered, you have to learn to understand and find a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you can find a way to solve a problem, they will understand and be okay with it. But you have to be able to step up to either recognizing that something was wrong or having an alternative that will be similar to what you couldn't deliver.
It's the
And I don't know if you guys agree with that because you have some of the
totally.
same clients.
100%.
And we actually fly, not a lot, but some to Alaya. And
Yeah, and one of the, certainly during my time at Alaya, one of the challenges we had is we could sell the entry-level product all day. The standard bedroom would sell, no problem, just open it up and go. But convincing someone to spend 4 figures a night for a 3-bedroom beachfront villa, that's not a mass market exercise. These people are not going online and booking their own rooms. They're using luxury travel agents. They're using luxury consortia.
Yeah.
So then you're having to market to a very, very specific clientele and a very, very specific booker. And these people can afford to stay wherever they want, anywhere in the world. If you're paying $1,000 plus a night, you can choose. So to reassure them to come to Belize and that everything's going to be okay, you need to build that marketing pack to tick all their boxes. Will I have exclusivity? Is it secure? Will it be seamless? Can I get anything I want any time of the day? And it's that part of marketing that where you really earn your stripes, because you're not selling the same products to the same people all year round, and you need to be very conscious of what your property is, what that means to people, and how you can nudge that over the line. Yeah, beautiful pictures are not always just going to do it. So you need to be thoughtful in how you spend those marketing dollars.
Yeah. I guess when here because Alaya did a lot of the pioneering with one of the first ones to do a branded resort in Belize. What impact having that brand affiliation with Marriott here? You don't have to worry. You don't have to offend them too much. You can tell them it's, oh, we would know. But like, what impact has that had on your business, whether it be service, marketing, bookings?
Yeah, it's huge, you know, because it gives you like an international standard. People say, okay, I know this brand. I've stayed in one in X country, Y country, Z country, and I know I'm going to have a minimum threshold that's met. You also receive clients with much higher expectations because they are traveling day in, day out, you know, your loyal Bonvoy guests. So they're expecting a minimum that you may not have to push elsewhere.
Well, I'm one of them because I'm a lifetime titanium.
There you go.
I actually only stay Marriott. He got me.
And anywhere I go, you're right. There's the expectation of if the flag is this, I expect the service to be delivered.
Yeah,
that's why you pick
standards.
100%.
I haven't booked Airbnb since college. Everything I look at brand, I'm just like, okay, do you know what? I'm not staying with a bunch of friends. I want something that I know is going to be decent. It's going to be clean. So
Yeah, but equally, you know, if you're looking at, you know, a project that's smaller, maybe you can't quite take a flag on or elsewhere. There's learnings there. You know, what's important to these guests, like I said before, it's authenticity, it's personalization, it's anticipatory service. Now, just because you don't have an automatic system that collects guest data, nothing to stop you to send a little email, tell us why you're staying, tell us your kid's name, and you can use all that information to build those little touch points that you would expect in a premium brand. Yes, there's an extra step involved, and you know there's a little bit extra work, but data's king.
but it's everything.
Yeah, and know the more you know about your guests, and the more you use that, it turns, you know, basic service into an experience, and that's what people are looking for.
It's also been like, it's awesome seeing Four Seasons come along, Six Senses come along. But for the people that are looking at entering the luxury space and new opportunities in it, where do you guys see luxury travelers coming from? Like, you see when people arrive, you see when they stay, and you see in the region, where are the luxury travelers coming from?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, in terms of this distribution, we receive most of these clients from the US. So connectivity between Latin American countries and the US is key, you know, to attract this kind of guests. There is a very important component from Canada, also Europe, but let's say 80% comes from the US.
Any particular city or state?
I mean, New York, New Yorkers, Boston, Atlanta, Florida, Texas,
Yeah,
California.
Yeah, one odd pattern we noticed this year, particularly after an election year and such a contentious election, let's say in the US, is that our guests had to be reassured that they were welcome. And I know that sounds so odd, but we went through this exercise where we saw travel dip and we said why, and a lot of guests were worried about kind of external perception. Now, Alaya, 92% of our beds are used by US guests. That's where our airlift is, and that's the market that can afford it. So we had to go through this kind of marketing exercise to say, you know, we still love you, we're still open, you know, come here. Everyone's relaxed, you're going to be welcomed, but being sensitive to the geopolitical climate in your source market is very, very key for a luxury traveller. You know, they don't want to come and feel like they're going to be looked down on or ostracised in any way. So it's always nice to keep a close eye on what's happening in your source markets.
Is it any particular state that you say is your best clientele?
Yeah, I mean, our best is Atlanta, so Georgia, and then followed by New York. But it's where the airlift is. Hospitality lives and dies by airlift. I could have the best marketing campaign ever devised in Europe. No one's coming. It's complicated to get here.
Yeah, sure. And you see it every day. If you had the best client, where are they from?
For us, the demographic of the city is not as important as you know, our best clients tend to be families or people that have an expectation of the service because they either have a private plane or C-level type of executive on a vacation because time is of essence. So you need to be able to maximize the time that they're spending on their vacation because they count their life in minutes.
Here's we actually were talking about this. We actually couldn't figure out which was a better market and how you tap into both. Was driving up here was for luxury travel. Is it the families or is it the young couples? Which one is like one that if there was one if you target? Because I've even noticed at it when you have a family pool versus not that it's
You need both markets.
okay.
You need both markets. Yeah, go ahead.
I agree, and it changes based upon economic conditions. There was some years ago before COVID, we could park a helicopter here, and people would walk up and book it on the spot, and then would go out, get the girlfriend, wife, and say, we're going on a helicopter. After COVID, disposable income changed, and then you had all the people that were not traveling that have disposable wealth just say, life is too short. I'm not going to keep on working so hard, and you will agree with this. So there was a massive change in financial demographic of people traveling. So more money, less volume. And probably that will change as the economy of the world transitions into one where people have more disposable income that then can splurge on a luxury market. And it's good to see that you agree with the same trend that probably you're seeing in your own hotels.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think we have 5 minutes left. This has actually flown by really quick.
Well, I can add something very interesting because I heard a common theme not only on this panel but others, which is luxury market needs certain things in order to keep on growing. And in a lot of the panels, you have heard the same, let's say, direction, which is Belize has already seen where they want to go and they're making the changes necessary. But in order to keep on growing, those changes need to come to a finalization so it allows the market to continue to grow organically. But some of it can't happen when you have change or you have certain infrastructure changes. And the common theme is make it simple, make it fast, make it efficient. And that is very truthful. From labor, from permits, from aviation authorities having to then come forward with technology changes and so forth, and all sorts of different support components that you guys also have to deal with.
Yeah.
If there was like one incentive that Belize could have to attract luxury investors, luxury development, luxury projects, what do you guys think it would be?
That's a great question. Probably the right answer is Belize needs to be able to compete with another countries. So you need to see what Costa Rica is doing, you need to see what El Salvador is doing, you need to understand what is doing Mexico, what is doing some countries on the Caribbean to understand how we can provide, this kind of incentives, this kind of facilities, to bring more business.
Yeah, and it starts from before you arrive in the country, and all the way through the smile at the airport, the AC in the terminal, is the road smooth, the condition of the taxis.
The lines.
Yeah.
Every part, if you're talking true luxury experience, and I can tell you from a hotelier's point of view, if someone has a terrible experience, a long line at the airport, the taxi driver didn't show up, the road was closed, they arrive to me pissed off already, and I need to start way back to get them to base zero to then start the experience. If I get someone who went straight through and everything was smooth and they come with that big smile on their face, it makes your job easier.
Yeah.
And it's not the solution, but I'll tell you a story. We have American Airlines comes late, right? So you have a couple that goes by helicopter, one that doesn't come. Bags don't arrive to country. Both are pissed. The one that go by helicopter land with a smile on their face and forget about their bags. The ones that arrive by other methods are at your hotel speaking every single thing that's wrong because their state of mind shift drastically. Yeah. So it's amazing how changing the mindset of the traveler changes the experience 100%. And it's the same person with the same situation, but one thing made it acceptable, the other didn't. And it's not only about the helicopter. It's about the experience can change the outcome from that one day through the next 7 because they're still caught up on what happened on day 1.
I could even say, we were talking about a few luxury examples. Kenai is pretty close by. Would you have the St. Regis in the addition? But it's amazing when you go through something and everything's seamless. Everything could be going wrong, but they still make it seamless. is something that's quite impressive in when you look at the luxury segment.
Yeah, it's service. Again,
Yeah.
same as you said. Luxury is all about service.
So what would be the best service advice you guys could give to any business, any person looking not just at the luxury space? If there's one comment on service and one key, one remark on it, what would it be?
But for me, a lot of people get worried about tech, and the last panel was talking about AI. How do I integrate it? When do I integrate it? When does it help? For me, it's use technology where it makes things quicker, but leave that human connection for like meaningful interaction. People don't want to be checked in by a machine, but they want everything to be nice and quick, so I can get straight to you, look at your smile, and start to plan all the things that are special to me. Because you're giving you my passport, my credit card, and all that nonsense. That's not important to me, right? What's important is recommendation, suggestion, getting that local vibe and that local flair. So use your tech to make all the boring stuff seamless, and then focus on the real personal connection for the meaningful stuff.
Yeah, but you even commented that the human experience, I've seen everything in all your guys' sector of a very human experience. So that's actually an awesome point. So, and Belize does have like the friendliest people you'll ever meet. It's actually unbelievable. You're on a golf cart, everybody stops to say hi, pull over, and wave. And so I see that there's 17 seconds left. I want to thank everybody so much. I've been looking at these numbers. I'm like, it took me a second to realize what it was. It's the countdown. Thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you, guys. This was awesome. A lot of great feedback. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, BELTRAIDE. Thank you, everybody. Fiona, it's the end now. Hopefully we could grab a cocktail. Nikki, we still owe me one. And thank you so much.